As you're watching me do stuff, if you have questions, please ask.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one of my subscribers was asking about, is it too late to prune, or can they prune when it's frozen out?
You can prune anytime you want. And I could do it all summer. Like you see, notice I have no suckers inside here, because when they develop, I take my glove and rub them off all summer long. I don't let them happen, because what's the point of letting them happen? Because they take a lot of energy from the tree, they create shade where you don't want it, you're going to come out later, so get them up front. You know, I mean, don't let it happen. So, you know, pruning happens all year long, you know, kind of a thing. It's just, again, these things they tell you, I don't know, you know, where they get it, because it just makes no sense. And it's not like you're going to, you know, cause it more harm by pruning, you know, in the summer as you do in the wintertime. It's you're cutting.
I'm farther north and planted standard size apple trees. If I wanted to control my tree's vigor, should I summer prune instead of pruning in late winter? Summer pruning reduces tree vigor, suckers, and lets more light in for the fruits. Is that correct?
I've never seen anything change vigor. My trees grow, you know, non-stop very well no matter what I do. I summer prune because I don't want all those suckers developing, but I do it with my glove. I rub them off when they first start. I do it all summer long, but it certainly doesn't change any vigor. The vigor is always, you know, dramatic, huge.
Now, what about taking the center leader out?
If you want to shorten the tree, that's what you do.
When would you do that? Like how old or how tall?
Whenever you feel like you should. If it's getting too big for you. Again, you're in charge. Some people understand, you're in charge. This is your orchard. You're making it work for you. So make it fit. And when it's in your way, getting too tall, whatever, take it out. I mean, you're in charge. And the tree grows back. I mean, I've done things as dramatic as cutting them off at the base. And my grape was over there, a classic example. It had died off. I cut it right down to the bottom. I have a beautiful, it all came back great. As long as you got roots in the ground, it's going to come back. So it's not like at any point it can't return.
Now, did you have any trees planted before you started using the wood chips?
No, because I didn't have water. If you remember the film, I says I had half a gallon a minute well, and I knew I couldn't water.
Yeah, that's bad.
And so I went out to the woods and I observed how these fir trees that don't have deep roots grow. Mm-hmm. And I got it. Like I said, it was awesome. And I was so thankful. So, yeah, day one, man, I started covering this. At first, I didn't have wood chips. I was using straw and sheep manure, which works. But the challenge is it breaks down quick, and you're always working, trying to keep a cover up, because it doesn't last long. So I converted to wood chips, you know, a while after that, and I'm going nowhere else. Man, it was awesome.
You mentioned bringing 12 to 18 inches of wood chips into the orchard when you began. Was that all at once, or was that over a period of time?
Yeah, it was all at once, because the state was clearing all the highway along Highway 20 to Port Townsend, clearing all the trees, then out along the canal on 104, and it was awesome. They're taking a truck out every day, and every night they're bringing this truckload of wood chips and dumping on the road. So I had it the whole summer long. So in one summer I did all of that.
How long after you dropped all the wood chips out here, where the orchard is now, was it before you put your first tree in?
Well, I was planting the trees before the wood chips, because I was wanting to get them in. And what was so scary to me, I'm planting these trees like you know, and I'm in that first winter, they're in standing water. They're standing. I'm thinking they're gonna root rot. I can't. Yeah. And you know, and now you got water all in that area over there standing. Water standing here. It just deals with all the issues, man. It's just so powerful.
It holds what it needs and gets rid of the rest.
That's what I think is so dramatic. Is that, like, it doesn't have a brain. Yeah. When it's too much water, it displaces it, evaporates it, let it go. And when there's not enough, it holds on to it.
That's pretty cool.
And it has no brain.
And no brain. Yeah.
I think that's awesome, man.
How long did it take after using covering on the orchard before you got fruit?
I was like 5 to 7 years, because my ground was so deficient that it really took a while. But you know what's interesting now? When I plant a tree like this and this stuff, and you guys were here last year, and that little
mm-hmm.
I planted a tree. I took 30 apples off of it because the branches were going to break. So it's all about nutrition. Nothing to do with age of the tree. It's about the condition of the soil. I'm so thankful for these experiences because I was here when I planted and I waited 5 years to 7 years. And now I plant a tree, it's like first year, man, take off fruit because you're going to break branches. It's like, it's huge. And so I'm seeing that contrast is so helpful.
Do you know what Jarrah is? Like a tree? Jarrah? Okay. If you had Jarrah wood chips, pine mulch, or nature's mulch, blend of aged ground mulch to choose from, covering wise, what would be your preference? People ask me all the time, what is like your perfect tree for getting
I have
mulch
found
from?
that they all work great and there's nothing I don't like. And as far as saying one's better than another, I don't even know if I even analyzed it because they just all work great. And they all have nice characteristics. Like I love pine because the needles, there's a lot of green mass, a lot of green material, you know, everything. And then when I'm out weeding and I go through these spaces where I'm looking how they're becoming, it's like it all just works great. So I don't even care anymore what it is. It's just...
Well, I was discovering. I always tell people when they ask me that, you know, anything works, but you like pine needles because they create little gaps, pockets of air and stuff like that.
And there's a lot of green. When you chip pine branches, there's a huge amount of green. And my sense, the green is what you're
helps
really after.
break everything
That's the
down.
ideal. That's the most valuable part of the material.
I'm starting a garden on the edge of the woods in Alaska. There are many, many small alders coming up from big roots from trees that were removed in the last year or two. How should I deal with this? These suckers are very invasive. How should I have a skidster, because that's a machine, come out and remove the big roots that were left? Oh, I guess that's the end of it.
You're going to have to remove the roots, whether by digging by hand or the skips or whatever. If you leave them in the ground or you break them off, they're coming back. And so they're going to have to be removed. You have to dig them out. Because alders are very, very vigorous, very prolific, and they're not going to go away.
When you have the root suckers come up, that's from the dwarf rootstock, right?
It's from, you know, it's, you see over here, you see they're coming up all over the place. You know, so I just pull them out, you know, because they just are coming up from the roots. You know, and now what you don't want to do is cut them. If you cut them, you get 4 back. Every place you cut, they multiply. So you want to go down to where they're coming off the root and break them off. You know, I actually just, you know, bust them off, or, you know, because you don't want them, if you cut them, you get multiples. So it's just, you want to try to eliminate the thing.
Well, one of my subscribers kind of hinted at, or maybe they said, and I just kind of didn't catch it right, that you have some of these root suckers that come from, I mean, they travel 30, 40 feet from the tree. Couldn't you graft some scion wood onto that and have it be still dwarf rootstock, but be whatever you grafted onto it?
It is, but yeah, you could.
Okay.
But again, it's going to be connected to the other tree. It's going to be taking from it. You know what I'm saying? So it's not a rootstock by itself. It's connected to this one. So as that grows, now you have competition.
Oh.
So I just don't know if it'd be that good of an idea. I mean, I'm sure it can happen, but you know, you're not to compete, you know, for the same root section. 2 trees instead of 1.
Are there ways to create microclimates to be able to grow trees, say under trees, to protect them from like frost or?
I do with kale. I plant it on my cherry tree because it keeps it warm. And here's the thing I'm finding. I'm at the place now that I'm doing everything they say you can't. I think it's because of my German heritage. You know, we're kind of stubborn.
Yep.
You know, I'm like, oh, I can't. Well, let me show you.
Yeah.
And so I just planted last year under my apple tree over there, under my tree, against that barn, so it has no afternoon sun, asparagus.
Wow.
Oh, sweet.
And it's thriving, and I'm eating it first year. And I planted potatoes under my tree. Under the whole base of the tree, I got offs of potatoes growing.
Sweet. Yep.
So I'm realizing that all these things they're telling me are coming from a default broken premise they're trying to fix, where in nature nothing's broken. God's growing all kinds of things under trees in nature. There's no issues. I can't. You know, I'm growing great strawberries under my trees over. I mean, the trees are an asset. In the summer when it's hot, you can grow greens and stuff, and they shade.
Yeah.
And so it's not like a negative. And the whole idea of growing one thing in one place is completely bizarre. It's just not not real. And so that just changes the whole perspective of how much space you need. You know what I'm saying? See, when you can grow in under trees, you know, so you don't need. You know, I always tell people on my tours. You know why I have large farms in the United States? You know why we have large
Why do you have
farms?
large farms?
Why?
Because they produce so little.
Oh, yeah.
They have to be large because they're producing so little. You don't need a lot of space if you got vital ground, healthy ground. You can produce tons of stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
In one place, a simple place, because you don't need a lot of room.
I noticed some, I guess, companies use tree wrap at the base of the tree, and some use a mesh or hardware cloth. And they were wondering how you protect your fruit trees.
From what? What are you protecting from?
I don't know, maybe rabbits and stuff.
Oh, you see my dog?
And the cat.
Well, that's the answer.
Yeah.
The dog keeps everything out of here.
Let's
The other
see.
deer, right?
Deer, everything, yeah. Cougars, all of them. Yeah, she's awesome. There's this lady who brings these sheep here every year. And where she has them in her place, she loses every year lots of sheep to cougars and to coyotes. And she's blown away, man. Never has lost one here. You know, and they're around. It's just my dog. Keeps them all out. Anyway, we want to go check out the cooler?
Yeah, let's do that.